Hi everyone. So I thought I would do a recommendation video for this small town romance series that I just finished. So it's, like I said, small town. There's a mystery aspect to this book series. There's family rivalry, so all that stuff. So this is the Bailey Brothers series, so they're all brothers. So the first book is Protecting You. And we have the characters of Asher and Grace. So I gave the spice rating like a 3 out of 5. I'd say this was definitely like the sweetest romance, probably is the first one. If you're not really into like sweet romances, as the series progresses, they get hotter. I'll just say that. But this one felt like a little bit more of like sweet to me because they were younger. You know, you're talking, they were like 21, around there. So we have Asher and Grace. So this is a childhood friends to lovers romance. I said also there is a cliffhanger to this story. So if you're not a fan of cliffhangers, you're not going to like this one. So there's a cliffhanger to this story. So you have to delve into the second book of the series to see what happens next. I said also they're both virgins. So we have Asher and Grace have been best friends since they were kids. Grace comes from a single mom. Dad chose to stay out of the picture. I said, you understand at the end of this book why he stayed away. I said, Asher and his younger brothers were raised by their grandparents. Their parents ended up dying. I think it was an electrical fire, if I remember correctly. The parents died in like an electrical fire. So one summer, after Grace's second year in college, she decides to come home, and that's where she sees Asher again. They drifted apart a bit, but something about how Asher looks at her causes Grace to question their friendship. The story goes very easy and quick. So you could see how much Grace and Asher felt toward each other and how much they held out getting together because they didn't want to lose the connection they had. But they decide to start a relationship, and it's great, and everything's going perfect. But as I suspected, something bad happens and the couple are forced to separate. I said, that's where the story ends. I said, I was shocked how much I enjoyed this book. I said, I normally don't enjoy childhood friends and lovers because I question why it takes a couple that long to realize they were perfect for each other. But with this one here, I could understand why. I said, also this couple quickly knew they were meant for each other. So this is like quickly they knew they were meant for each other. I said it was almost too perfect in my eyes, hence why I suspected something bad was going to happen. And of course my hunch was right. But as is life, nothing is perfect, and in order for the couple to last, there has to be conflict. So yes, it ends on a cliffhanger. They are separated. And so then it delves into the next book. So the next one is Fighting for Us. Which is book 2, and I gave this one 4 stars. I gave the first one 5 stars, but I gave this one 4 stars. So it was a little less for me, probably because this one here was definitely a little more darker in tone for me. I felt like this one was definitely more darker in tone because of how they were separated. I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll just say like how they were separated, you know. So this one is, of course, Asher and Grace again. I gave this 3 out of 5. This is, of course, a continuation of the first book. And so Asher's back home after being away for 7 years. He told Grace to move on with her life because at the end of book 1, they're, you know, obviously together. I don't want to give too much away. So he basically tells her, like, move on with your life. You know, he has to be separated for her for that time. Like I said, don't want to give too much away. You probably could suspect what happens. But, yeah, they're separated for 7 years. She stays in the town. And so he comes back and he sees that she still is, you know, like they got engaged at the end. And so he sees that she's still wearing the engagement ring. And he's like, why didn't you move on? I told you to move on with your life. You know, I didn't want you to wait for me. So I said both of these characters dealt with a lot of emotional baggage, and they clearly needed therapy to help. They did need therapy. So this is basically a second chance romance from the events that happened in the first book. I said I enjoyed it, but there were some times that the book dragged a bit. And I said on all of the emotional damage that these characters were going through. So this one was definitely probably the darkest one in tone for me. That's what I felt like. This was the darkest one in tone for the book. So then we move on to the third book in this series. So this is a new couple. And 5 stars. Unraveling Him, I loved this one. When I delved into this one, I was like, oh, it was hot. It was hot. So we got the characters of Evan and Fiona. Now I gave this one 4 out of 5 spice rating. I said I tend to like these small town romances that don't have a crap ton of drama involved. I said this was such a sweet romance. There was some drama involved in this, but it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was bogged down with drama. It's basically typical small town drama with a little spicy stuff involved in it. So we got Evan is a recluse introvert. I don't know what it is about recluse or introvert guys. Maybe because I'm an introvert myself, but damn, they're sexy. I don't know what it is about introvert men, because he seemed to have like, especially him, like he works on cars and stuff. That's like my kryptonite. That's like my kryptonite. Guys who work with their hands. Oh, yeah. So I really identify with this character because, like I said, he's an introvert. I'm an introvert. So he's kind of like grumpy, you know, like leave me alone. He doesn't live in the same areas where his other brothers live. He kind of lives farther out, like outside the town in his own like cabin house area with his dog. He's got like this big dog, this huge dog. So he, you know, of course, comes off as grumpy and someone you don't want to mess with. But then Fiona Gallagher comes into his life, and what I thought was really funny is she had these plants and she had these names for these plants and she talked to them. It was so cute. I was like, this girl is so kooky, but I like her. So he's restoring these cars. He likes to restore old cars, different things like that. Her father screws him out of a car. It ends up finding out this car is stolen. So he's like, great. He went and lost all that money, and he was going to actually put that in for like a show and to win money for this car show. And so she feels bad, and she's like, I'm going to help him out. So she decides to leave, you know, her dad, and goes back to this town and sees Evan again. And so she basically tells him like, hey, I'll help you out. I'll help you find a vehicle, because she knows cars too. You know, she's been around her dad all her life, so she knows like vehicles. She knows how to do different stuff. So this is their romance. It starts out with kind of like a road trip romance, because she has to take him to where he can get this car. And you can clearly see like they are attracted to each other, you know, and she's like miss like more sunshine, and he's kind of like, you know, kind of like that. But she softens him up, you know. He's just a big teddy bear. And so she softens him up. And so I said, Fiona can certainly come off as a Mary Jane, you know, someone who's too perfect. But I could see that she wasn't. I said, yeah, she works on cars. She knows how to cook. She's sweet. But she wasn't perfect. She clearly let her best friend, yeah, it's questionable, and her father take advantage of her for far too long. Her best friend was a piece of shit. Yeah. And so I said, I really enjoyed this one. I said, it definitely was the best one in the series so far. And the scenes between him and her are hot. Yeah. Oh, he's a dirty boy. He is a dirty boy. Not just his hands, but other things too. So yeah, that one was hot. I really enjoyed that one. So then we delve into the fourth one, which is Rushing In. Now, Gavin is like the youngest brother of the crew, and he's the one that's the most daring. So he's a firefighter, And so we got the characters of Gavin and Skylar. I said, gave the spice rating like a 3 out of 5. This is rushing in. And so this is a boss's daughter slash hero is an adrenaline junkie. So I said, I like Gavin. He was the fun brother of the group, and he had dimples when he smiled, and that to me is like sexy. I'm a sucker for a guy with dimples. I said, I think what caused the 3 stars, because that's what I gave it, was the heroine. I said, I liked her the least of all of the heroines. I said her anxiety and fear of everything was just really annoying. And I mean, I suffer with anxiety, so I know what that's like, but it was just annoying to me. I said also Gavin was a bit wishy-washy, you know? And I said, I wanted him to be a little more serious. I said, also, I felt that the couple got engaged, like, way too quickly. They were, like, you know, he was, like, down on one knee, like, super fast with her. And I was like, dude, slow down. Slow down, man. Yeah, he was, maybe because he was an adrenaline junkie. And I was like, dude, you need to chill. You're going to get yourself freaking killed one day. There was a small side plot of like Skylar's parents reconnecting. I thought that was really sweet because her parents were like divorced for like years, but you clearly could see that they still loved each other, you know? She wanted to kind of do her own thing. He wanted to stay in that town. And so kind of like just, it split them apart. But it was super sweet. I really liked that little side plot of, her parents like reconnecting. That was sweet. But I'd have to say, like, this one here was definitely, like, I gave it a 3-star. It was the least I enjoyed, actually, in that series. And like I said, it was the heroine. Skylar just, she rubbed me the wrong way. And, they kind of, like, it was kind of wishy-washy with both of them. Like, should we, shouldn't we? And I was like, whatever. So, yeah, that one there was least one. That was my least favorite of all the series. So then we got book 5, which is Chasing Her Fire. So this one here is Logan and Kara. It's either Kara or Kara. I say Kara. But Logan, he's a twin. He has his twin brothers Levi. So it's Logan and Levi. And they, you know, they've played games and all that stuff. This, you know, they constantly play like rivalries with these other guys in the town, the Havens. So they kind of go back and forth with each other when they do pranks and all that stuff. Like I said, there's this family rivalry between the families. So Logan and Kara, throughout this series, you could see they don't like each other. But I'm like, oh, they're definitely going to be bumping uglies, because you could clearly see, oh, they're attracted to each other. They may say they hate each other, but you know that saying, you know, there's all is fair in love and war and all that stuff, where like love and hate can be very similar, you know. And so Logan and Kara, this one here, I definitely gave this one like 5 out of 5. Oh, spicy. This was a spicy meatball. It's definitely a hate to love trope. Also, be aware there is a surprise pregnancy trope in here. There is a surprise pregnancy trope. I kind of suspected. I was reading. I was like, oh boy, yeah. So, anyways, ever since Kara and Logan were first introduced in the books and started arguing with each other, I knew I had to get to their story. I was like, oh, you know, they're definitely going to do something. So I was hoping this book would be good, and I was not disappointed. I said Logan and Kara get drunk one night, and Logan ends up balls deep in Kara. And so this is their romance. They both got drunk, and they went at it. So I said I freaking loved Logan. I said when he realized he knocked Kara up, he knew he wanted to be in the baby's life. I see he was such a cinnamon roll hero, but damn, he could be dirty in the bedroom. He was like, as soon as he found out he knocked her up, he was like, oh, I'm all in. I'm going to be a dad. We're going to go to the appointments. So sweet. And I was just like, whoa, good, man. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. You do not blame the woman. You do not do any of this other shit that I've seen. Good. Keep doing it. Keep doing this. So, there was some parent drama in this as well. Kara's mom is a fucking psycho. And I would say I identified with Kara a lot. She was fiercely loyal to her friends and would do just about anything for them. She also was funny. But I did deal with she did deal with like not feeling good enough. Like I said, her mother is a piece of crap. Her mother is a manipulator, piece of dog duty. So, yeah, I've dealt with people like that. Manipulators. They manipulate you, they try to act like a victim. So that way they can manipulate you and keep manipulating you for years. That's what her mother was. Her mother was a piece of trash. Yes. Did not like the mom. Hated her with 1,000 suns. Yeah. She also dealt with like daddy abandonment issues, and you end up finding out why the father abandoned Kara. So Logan was always there for her, and I love that. He was like, she wanted to kind of push him away, and he's like, no, you're not pushing me away on this. We're going to deal with this, And she like opened herself up to him. She wanted to be like this rock, and like, no one can penetrate her. But there was something about Logan that he just got to her, and she just started, opening up, like, spreading her wings like a butterfly, or you're peeling away the layers of that onion that she is, to get to her, get to that soft center. She definitely would keep a lot of stuff inside. And so her and Logan, both had hilarious names for each other at the beginning. I would bust up laughing because they had each other's phone numbers. I said they, for some reason, had their phone numbers. I said Logan referred to Kara as Evil Ariel because she had red hair. And Kara referred to Logan as Prince Dickhead. I just started busting up laughing when she would text him. And I was like, Prince Dickhead. I just was like, I don't know why. It was just hilarious to me. I'm like, this chick is awesome. I love her. I said, she is going to be great at parties because she's funny. And I'm like, I like someone like that. Like, I'm definitely more of like introverted, but I actually am attracted to extroverted people because they're fun to be around, and it's like they kind of like lighten up my mood and kind of get me a little more extroverted myself. So those are the people I actually don't mind being around because I'm like, okay, let's see what they do, let's have some fun. So she was funny. Oh man, she is Prince Dickhead. I mean, I was like, I just like her. I just really do. She's like great throughout the series. I just love her. She's like probably my favorite. Besides Fiona. I liked Fiona too. But Kara is definitely, she's my girl. I love her. I said it made me laugh so hard. I said I loved the banter in this book because they would kind of go back and forth with each other. And I'm just like, this is so entertaining. Let me get out my popcorn. Keep going. So yeah, it was just, that one was really good. Definitely 3 and 5 are definitely my favorite of the series. I loved those two. I love those two books so much. They're really good. So then we've got the last book in this series, which I just read. So this one here is Rewriting the Stars. So we've got book 6. And this one is the last brother to have his HEA. So we got Levi, and he's Logan's twin. So he's a firefighter too. They're all three of the brothers, Gavin, Logan, and Levi, are all firefighters. And so Levi, and we have Levi and Annika, or Annika. I think it's Annika. So I gave this spice rating 4 out of 5. So we got a friends to lovers romance. It's also a forbidden romance because he's a Bailey, she's a Haven. So yeah. There's definitely some stuff going on there. So I said this is the final installment of the Bailey Brothers series. So we have Levi and Annika are supposed to be rivals with their families hating each other. But Annika and Levi have been secretly friends since high school. I said since Annika has come back a year ago, she's now a single mother. Levi cannot deny his feelings anymore, so he decides to go for it. And boy, does he ever. Oh, there is like a scene where they do like this ball. And he takes her into a closet. Oh, yeah, he takes her into a closet. There is some sneaky time where they have to like go off with each other and make out and stuff. Oh, hot. So hot. I kind of like that secrecy kind of thing. So yeah, like that one. So I said I enjoyed this couple because you could see that they really just didn't care about the rivalry. They were so tired of this rivalry back and forth with each other between the Haleys and the Havens and the Baileys. And even they don't even know what was the reason of why the family started having this rivalry with each other. So as the series progresses, you start to get more clues on the mystery of why these families were like torn apart, why they had like this hate and animosity toward each other. They constantly were playing pranks on each other. And then other things started to happen that were more dangerous, and they were they were going to come to blows. So Levi and Annika are like, look, we need to stop this bullcrap. Stop. We love each other. We want to be together. We need to stop with this rivalry. So it's basically them, defying the odds and saying, no, we're going to push through. We are not going to separate. We're not going to be like Romeo and Juliet. And that's basically what they called themselves. Like, she would text him and her name for him on her phone was Romeo because she didn't want to have Levi because she didn't want her brothers like seeing, Levi Bailey, on her phone. And he had Juliet on his phone. So Romeo and Juliet. So I liked that it wrapped up the mystery of the town too. Because you you end up finding out like what was the reasoning of why there was this animosity. So I'm glad it wrapped up. Because I was really getting annoyed with like, okay, what's going on? Why? Why are these family? Why? Why do you keep arguing with each other? Why do you keep pranking each other? You don't even know, and yet you keep doing it. Why don't you figure it out? So that's basically what happens. And then so the author decides she's going to do a Haven series. I definitely want to check that one out because I want to see what happens with those brothers too. But there was a scene in here where they do some photos together, and that was hot too. But yeah, it's a really good series. I would say like I really enjoyed the 3rd book and the 5th book the best, but I did actually like the whole series. I thought the whole series was really good. And I do like that it's, small town. I liked that it had that aspect to like, there was this mystery of like the rivalry and why there was this mystery. And then every book had like, different brothers like discovering different things about the town. Like, hey, what about this? Oh, look at this. And then kind of like them all kind of coming together to solve this mystery. So that was really interesting too. So that's why I liked this. It was a really good series. I definitely want to read more from this author, Claire Kingsley. She has this beach series because in the last book, they end up at this beach. And I was like, oh wait, I recognize the name because there's another series that she did that was called Jetty Beach or something like that, and that's where they ended up. So I was like, oh, I need to read that series now because the 2 characters that were in this book were probably in that series. So I'm like, I gotta check that series out now. And then of course I want to check out the Haven series when that comes out. So I definitely like this author. I'd say this is definitely a new author to me and a favorite. And I really enjoyed the books. And if you like that small town, you know, aspect to it, and it's kind of funny, the rivalry back and forth with each other. They play like these pranks on each other. It is kind of funny, but I will say it does get kind of old after a while because you're like, oh, come on. But I'm glad it does wrap up so at least they can stop fighting with each other. So yeah, but I really like this series. So if you want to check out a small town series with like a mystery aspect to it, some rivalry and different things like that, some hot, sexy times, check out this series. So yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Be safe out there. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.